in the dense spiritual forests of ancient India, where sages meditated in Himalayan caves and kings gave up thrones to find God, there was once a man who sought nothing of the sort. He was no monk, no scholar, no Brahman. He was a fisherman, and his name was Luipa. Luipa lived on the muddy banks of the river Ganga, where the smell of fish and decay was constant. Every morning, before the sun rose, he would wade into the cold waters with his net, pulling from the depths the slippery, dying bodies of fish. The market paid little. His hands were always slimy, and his body always smelled of rot. But he had no complaint. For him, this was life. The fish fed his stomach. The river gave him rhythm. The stink, he no longer noticed it. He had never read a scripture. He did not know the Vedas or the Upanishads. He had never seen the inside of a temple. But deep within, Luipa had a strange stillness. When he cast his net, he did it with full attention. When he gutted a fish, he watched how the organs glistened in the light. There was no ritual, no mantra, just complete absorption, total presence. One day, a wandering yogi came to the riverbank. He was dressed in rags, but his eyes held the sky. He watched Luipa work silently. Hours passed. Finally, he asked, "Why do you look at the fish guts as though they are jewels?" Luipa looked up, confused. "I don't know. I've just always done it this way. If I don't pay attention, I cut wrong, waste fish, lose money." The yogi laughed. "You are already a yogi." "But I've never meditated," Luipa said. "Never fasted, never chanted. And yet, you are present. That's more than most who wear saffron." Then the yogi said something that changed everything. If you can see God in rot, you can see God in anything. From that day on, Luipa stopped selling the fish. He still caught them, still opened them. But he no longer did it for trade. Instead, he sat at the riverbank day after day, cutting open fish guts, not with desire or aversion, but with sacred attention. The villagers thought he had gone mad. He was poor to begin with, they said. Now he has lost his senses too. But Luipa did not hear them. His hearing had turned inward. Every cut, every smell, every maggot became a meditation. The stink no longer repulsed him. It became sweet. The flies no longer annoyed him. They became companions. One day, while opening a fish, something happened. He saw, not with his eyes, but with his being, that there was no separation between him and the fish. No separation between the river and his breath. No separation between the rot and the divine. He dropped the knife, sat still, and laughed. Not because he understood God, but because he had stopped looking for him. In Tantric Buddhism, this moment is called Mahamudra, the Great Seal. The moment when all dualities collapse, when even purity and impurity dissolve. Luipa had found it, not in a cave, not on a throne of lotus petals, but in fish guts. Stories say he began to glow, that the river sang when he approached, that animals gathered near him without fear, that his body no longer decayed. Some say he stopped eating entirely. Others say he ate only rotting fish. But these are just stories. The real miracle was this: he was free. Free from seeking, free from shame, free from the illusion that one must leave life to find truth. Luipa wandered for years after that. Some say he flew. Others say he walked barefoot across deserts, teaching that every breath, every stink, every moment is God if seen fully. He had no followers, no temple, no book, just a message: the divine is not elsewhere. It is here, in what you call filth, in what you reject. Centuries later, the great compiler Abhyadatta Shri would write of Luipa in his text, the Chaturasiti Siddh Pravariti. There, Luipa was called a Mahasiddha, an accomplished one. His story stood beside kings and queens who turned to ash in search of the absolute. But Luipa never burned. He bloomed. From mud, from fish, from life. He proved what sages tried to explain with pages of philosophy. You don't need to escape the world. You need to see it clearly. And in that clarity, there is liberation. Luipa still lives, not in body, but in every moment when you wash dishes with full attention, when you walk barefoot on dirt and feel it fully, when you look at something ugly and suddenly see beauty when you stop searching and start seeing. He is the saint of the mundane, the yogi of rot, the Buddha of the fish cut, and his temple is the world itself.